program to educate the exporters and the private sectors of the initiatives that we want to embark on so that there is a good buy-in. There are also we must also embark on marketing strategies just to sensitize everyone within the country of what we are trying to achieve. We must also have monitoring and evaluation indexes so that we ensure that what we are doing, we are moving in the right direction, what are the gaps and what needs to be addressed. And there must always be continuous improvement so that everything is evolving. There must always be continuous improvement so that we do things more effectively and efficiently. And as we are about to conclude, looking at the technical specifics when they're exchanging data, whether it's via API or public key infrastructure or encryption protocols. National platforms, member states must develop a platform to handle registration, the insurance of certificates, revocation where need, and it must also be effective queries and communication. Custom system integration, there must be seamless integration within custom systems to enable the efficient data exchange and process of our processes. And lastly, we must ensure that there is quality assurance before we go live. There must be quality assurance, there must be testing environment, there must be pilots, and there must be training so that we make sure that there is reliable deployment. With that, muito obrigado, thank you, merci, asante sana.
Muito obrigado ao colega Etitec. O colega Etitec estava a apresentar o quadro do Certificado Eletrônico da SADC. Esse quadro é um quadro técnico que é para os Estados-membros usarem para desenvolver o seu módulo do sistema. Todos os países membros que estão a implementar o certificado eletrônico usou este quadro. No entanto, havemos de ter mais apresentações sobre especificações técnicas. E não sei se tem alguma pergunta relativamente ao que foi apresentado por enquanto. Só para... Estamos a abrir o debate em termos de... Se tiverem algumas perguntas, podem levantar agora, que é para vermos a próxima apresentação que tem a ver com as especificações técnicas do mesmo framework, do mesmo quadro do certificado eletrônico. Temos alguém que queira fazer alguma pergunta?
Não, para dar, se deu.
Alguém quer fazer pergunta? Penso que ninguém por enquanto. Então, sendo assim, vamos continuar com a apresentação. Vamos ter a apresentação seguinte, que fala da arquitetura. Existe architecture, no? Yes. Okay. We can have a presentation on architecture now. Then we have also the IT business requirements. Who will be presenting the requirements? Have they already presented? What is yours? A specification. So let us start with the specifications. Então vamos começar com as explicações, depois vamos apresentar a arquitetura do quadro do certificado eletrônico. Let me project it. Good morning. Bom dia. My name's Muranga Aaron Kashmilo. I'm an ICT expert from Zambia, coming from the Zambia Revenue Authority. I would also like to ride on the protocols already established. I will take you through the SADC Electronic Certificate of Origin Integration Specification. We can move to the next slide to see what we'll consider. So we'll be looking at the ECOO national system. We'll look at the integration techniques, as well as data exchange formats and message specifications. Next slide. So before we can talk about system integration, we expect the participating member state to have their national system already developed. So what the national system does for you is it enables you to register your exporters. Then after they have been registered, they can generate their certificate of origins. So with the development of the national system, we provide the liberty for the country to develop in whatever platform or programming language they see fit to develop their systems. There is no rigid specification that you have to follow to develop your national system. You identify what works best for you, and you develop your national system on that. So we see that there are a vast pool of platforms and programming languages that the system can, that the country can choose to develop their national systems on. Some common platforms include Java, we have got Python, we've got JavaScript. You can choose to develop your national system on a Windows-based operating system, or it could be a Linux-based. Then we also have requirements that help us determine how connectivity to the platform will be established. Are you going to use a virtual private network, or are you going
on the public internet to the system requires you to identify key stakeholders that will help you develop the national system. Remember, the national system is not a dictated system where SADC is already established, and the key is to translate those processes that you're already doing into something that is electronic to build your national system. So processes that you are doing when processing exporter registrations or processing the manual certificates of origin. So that becomes your first place to pick your requirements from. So you identify those key processes that you are doing in the manual process and translate them now identified in the process. So you may need to engage the business, the external stakeholders, taxpayers, the exporters themselves, people from the industry. Those who are, those you know are very critical to the success of building your national system. They need to be involved from the onset. So based on the requirements that you develop, of course, getting what you're already doing in a manual process and translating those into electronic processes, we then move on to developing the blueprints and the process diagrams. So you detail all those processes that you are doing in a meaningful way, related into a type of blueprint that can be submitted to the technical teams to have a basis to develop your national system. Then how do we build the national system? Other countries choose to develop their systems in-house. For example, us as Zambia, we developed our system in-house. We have the expertise to do that, and we're able to develop our system in-house. But if the country sees the need to outsource their development, they can reach out to SADC, who can avail expertise to help them develop their national system. SADC has a catalog of experts from different countries who can help with development of this system because of the experience that they have. But if, again, you have identified expertise within your own country and you feel that they are capable of developing or help you to develop your national system, you can choose and engage those experts and submit those blueprints and process diagrams to help you develop your national system. So collaboration is a very key aspect in the development of a national system. You want to have a national system which is accepted from the onset by the stakeholders who will be using the system basis. So their involvement from the onset is very key. You want to know the needs that they want to system, know, and it may surprise you, but sometimes the most innovative way to do something comes from someone external, because they know the best efficient ways to do something. So if they are involved from the onset, they also get to feel a sense of ownership of the process that you are developing for them. So there is a sense of
having the system being accepted even at the time it's reaching its phases of completion. We'll move on to the next slide. So if we have our stakeholders involved throughout the process, we will avoid most of these risks where we have a misaligned system because we didn't get a chance to hear from our stakeholders. Probably the system may be delayed because you have this constant back and forth where you are delivering something which does not meet your stakeholders' expectations. You get into issues of scope creep where you don't know how much you should do for that project. It keeps growing and growing and growing. Then there's loss of trust and buy-in because if your stakeholders are not involved, they don't know what you're doing, or you're promising them something and they don't have any input or say about it. So they don't feel a sense of trust in the process because it is not delivering what is expected of it. It may also damage the reputation of the system and also the trust in area. You miss out on certain innovations which can only be obtained from the stakeholders, which if they were involved in the first place, you would have got a lot of ways to achieve something in the most efficient way. You also tend to lose out on time and resources if we do not have that collaboration in place. We can move on to the next slide. So moving on to how we integrate with other member states. So remember, in the first place, we are talking about having a national system already established. If we don't have a national system in place, we cannot integrate, because how else are you going to communicate with another country if you don't have a national system? So the way we integrate with national systems is, if in the first place we have our own national system established, then we can leverage these technologies which we are calling web services. So a web service in the simplest term is a way applications communicate with each other over a network using standardized protocols. So there are a wide range of protocols available, especially now in this modern age that we can leverage. But for the sake of this integration, we'll just discuss two. We have a SOAP, which means Simple Object Access Protocol, and we have the RESTful services using JSON. So SOAP is a protocol that was developed by Microsoft, and it relies on XML for message formatting, and it works on HTTP and HTTPS. So HTTP and HTTPS is just a way for you to access service over the internet, but it's not secured. But where you have HTTPS, you're accessing a service over the internet, but in a secured manner. That's what the S is for in the acronym there. So an example of a SOAP message is something that would look like that. For those who are tech savvy, they have a close idea of what that means. So with a standard for message for data exchange or integration, what we are simply saying is, for example, let me give an analogy of someone applying for a job. When you are applying for a job, there is a standard that you follow. You need to have a CV and the resume submitted. And they're all structured in a certain way that would be accepted by the HR personnel. If you send a text to an HR personnel that you're applying for a job, they reject it and they will not take you seriously. But if you follow the format that you should send your CV and your resume in a structured way that is accepted, they will consider that application. You cannot choose to just use your own method to estimate with other parties. There should be an established standard that you should follow. And with applications that are communicating over the internet, these are some of the standards that we follow. There's, as I've indicated, the SOAP and the rest for using JSON. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages that we see with our SOAP way of exchanging. So it's a proven technology. It's got a strong message exchange. It's not only used for exchanging information, it is used in a wide range of platforms. Emails also use this. Other people choose to use this as a way of saving their information. It's got a wide range of usage that you can apply it for. So it also follows an established contract for you to use this messaging or exchange format. Like I indicated in my analogy about a CV and a resume, you have a specific structure that you have to write this message when you are doing the exchange between two parties. You do not just establish your own standard and choose it to send the way you want. You have to conform to a certain standard when doing this exchange of information. Then it's accepted across a various range of platforms. You don't have to all use iPhones for you to exchange information with SOAP. You do not all need to be using a Windows operating system. It is accepted across various platforms. Looking at the disadvantages there, it is robust and complex. When you're exchanging information over this technology, sometimes the way it will render issues when you are doing the exchange process may not be very easy to interpret for those people supporting the language. So if there's a break or technical issue, sometimes it can be very difficult to resolve the issue if the person supporting is not very tech savvy on that technology. And if the information being exchanged over this technology is too bulky, it can seem to be very slow. But I would like to encourage you that with the exchange of ECOO information, we do not really send information that can clog down this system. So this technology we might be exchanging as countries with the introduction of the integration of the ECOO. We can move on to the next slide. So the other technology that we may consider is the JSON-based technology. Also similar to the SOAP, it also has a structured way of using it. Again, you have to conform to the standards already established. So that's how, that's a small example of how information can be exchanged using this technology. Again, it works over the internet, and it's a simplified way for various applications to talk to each other. So moving on to the next slide. So the advantages of this one also is it's very simple and human readable. If you compare, can we just go back to the previous slide? The previous one? If you compare the data set there where I have an ID, a name, and an email, then I'll ask us again to just go back to an earlier slide where there's soap. We can go back another step back again. Okay, so if you compare this message and the one on the JSON, you will see that with the soft one, there is too much detail that you have to provide for the exchange to happen. But if we can go back to where we were on the JSON one. Yes. If you compare those two messages, you need to have more information on the other one as compared to this one. So this one is more modern over the other one because it allows you to transfer or exchange data in a simplified way, which is human readable, compared to the other one, which is a bit more complex. That's why we have those advantages there of it being simple and human readable. It is like pardon those disadvantages there. I think they are wrongly placed. They don't, I think the JSON format was not widely accepted then. So currently the SADC interface when implementing the we can leverage the JSON, which I've also indicated, and other platforms may also be considered because there are quite a wide range of them. Now the slide we're looking at here speaks with exchange formats with regard to the information that we exchange. So, like I already established in my earlier discussion, we need to have an established standard of how the information we're exchanging should be presented. So you will see that we need our datasets to have a name, a type, and a constraint, the size, and the description. And there's also the WCO ID, which allows us to conform to the international standards when we're doing the data exchange. We can move on to the next slide. So continuing on the exchange formats, we have these rules that apply to that information that we're explaining. So where we have an indication of a capital A, we are saying we accept any information that contains an alphabet character from A to Z, including the hyphens and the underscores. Where we have an attribute labeled as AN, we are saying we accept any characters within the alphabet. There might be a mix of small letters and capital letters, as well as numbers from 0 to 9 can be accepted in that data set. Where we have small letter n and small how each particular data set that we're exchanging should be presented. The next slide. Then we also have the aspect of constraints within the information that we're sharing. Certain information that is being shared is not mandatory, so it will be marked as optional, and that's what the O signifies. Where we have an indication of M, this is a mandatory field, and when information is shared, it should always be provided for. Then there's certain information that when we're exchanging is conditional based on certain criteria that are checked by the business rules. So it's a field that can be provided for if it meets certain conditions. Then where we have marked a field as X, we are saying it should be excluded and should not be provided for in the exchange process. D there indicates a disabled field. Where we have a disabled field, these are fields which are not entered by a human, but are generated by the system. Then we have a hidden field there, which is also generated by the system and can never be seen from an officer or user's perspective. So that's with the data exchange format. There's a PDF which was shared, which has now the detailed information of what we've discussed. So if we can switch to that, then we can just quickly run through what all these things mean from the information format perspective. So we're going to look at the information that is expected from what we are sharing in perspective of the ECOO. What information do we expect to share with another country in the ECOO dataset? And that's what we will be looking at. So we can just slowly slide, go down. Message control header. Mostly this will be technical stuff, so I'll just quickly run through it. The message header allows in the message function there indication of what message is being received. If we have for example, a 9, we know that we're receiving an ECOO for the first time, and the participating member state in the integration process. Then let's scroll down. Okay, just there. So now here, this is where we detail the actual information that we need to see in the message that we receive from the ECOO information. So you'll see there that we have the ECOO number, the country of origin, the country of destination, exporter code, exporter name, exporter address, consignee name, all those fields. So these represent the information that is shared from, say if Angola is sending ECO information to Zambia, they need to provide for all this information that is listed in that table. And if you remember, those constraints we are discussing on whether they are mandatory or optional, we also provide for an indication in there. So while we have a marking of M, all that information when Angola is sending to Zambia should be provided for. Where we have O, it is optional, they may choose to provide or not provide. Then again, we have a column there where those letters were indicating, it describes what kind of information can be entered in those fields. We can scroll down slightly. So it provides a comprehensive set of all the possible information that can be sent to dedicated all the possible data sets. And if you scroll down, go to the section where there's XML, sample XML. Yes. So you code for the exporter who is registered in the national system. Then we have the name, their address. If you scroll down slightly again, scroll down, we've got the transport information, how the goods that the exporter is sending are being transported, whether it's on road or it's on sea. We have all the transport details indicated there. Then scroll down again. We have a section there now where we indicate the consignment. So the consignment there a structure of a SOP message will look. And if the country has done the due diligence of implementing their national system very well, they'll be able to interpret this message in their own system and they'll have the information saved in their system about the ECO. So, high level, I would like to end here and thank you for your attention. If there are any questions, to answer.
Alguma pessoa aí que não todos nós. O senhor Caxemira por isso. Então, espero que os colegas que vão trabalhar com esta matéria. Yeah. Tenham dizer, não sei se temos algumas perguntas por aqui na plataforma. Doutor, tenha bondade. Estamos com o problema do micro aqui. Se pode nos ajudar.
Bom dia, meu nome é Isidoro Lussati, aqui o engenheiro fez uma série. Eu tenho aqui duas questões. Um padrão do relacionamento entre os sistemas, que no meu ver também é essencial para nós harmonizar os serviços. Se nós estamos numa zona, o que faz o B é essencial que o Z faz para haver isto. O que é que o técnico sugere para os membros para ver se ele está aqui, porque é o perito que entende, percebe especificamente o que é que ele tem a ficarmos com a visão padronizada que ele trouxe aqui na mesa. Essa é a primeira questão. A segunda questão é relativamente ao sistema o que a Angola também tem que seguir obrigatoriamente. Eu acho que isso foi aprovado segundo o que nós estamos aqui. Com base na apresentação, se pode simulação agora do sistema lá, eu sou exportador angolano, quero exportar fertilizantes para a namíbia do Congo. Poderíamos aqui fazer aqui um estudo de caso, pelo menos para termos a sensibilidade de como é que é, em vez de dizer que aquela informação é exclusiva só para alguns técnicos, mas pedir uma coisa concreta, não muito no sonho. Então, o técnico está aí, pelo menos vem já com um exemplo. Fizemos A, B, C, D, agora vamos para um caso prático. Exemplo, Angola. O Congo, Angola, a pandemia, Angola para ficar.
Primeiramente, gostava de parabenizar o engenheiro pela apresentação. Depois de dizer que o engenheiro falou dos sistemas SWAP e JSON. Portanto, eu gostaria de saber se esses dois sistemas é que os sistemas o operador, ou seja, tem acesso à internet, mas não tem o telefone, telemóvel, consegue fazer a Bom dia, técnico da Administração Geral Tributária, proveniente da 4ª região do Dito. Durante a abordagem relativamente as questões relativamente a essa temática extremamente importante em Angola, utiliza-se o sistema básico da web para a gestão. E eu gostaria de saber se essa plataforma interativa da gestão da emissão do certificado eletrônico acoplada ao sistema principal de gestão de importação e exportação, ou paralela a ela, apenas partilham dados de um sistema para outro para a gestão do mesmo certificado. E, segundo a experiência dos Estados-membros da Zona Livre do Comércio da SADC, esta plataforma que faz a gestão da emissão do sistema, da emissão do certificado eletrônico, se deve estar acoplada completamente fora do mesmo sistema, para que não haja problemas de risco. Sabemos que, para além da zona do comércio livre, esteja acoplada da exportação e importação na zona livre do comércio. Também tem outros dados de importação e exportação de outros pontos do mundo. Nessa interação os Estados-membros, será que os Estados devem partilhar com os Estados-membros da zona livre do comércio? Esta é uma. Por outra, qual é? Sabemos que nós agora, a nossa oficial apenas uma língua, terão várias, inglês, francês e português. Qual é o estudo que se faz com base nisso? Obrigado.
Eu tenho uma sugestão. Perguntas de qualidade como estas é sinal de que já estão a entender as coisas. Então, eu sugiro que vamos tomar chá. Quando voltar, vamos responder. Tá. Então, vamos tomar chá. Voltamos, ele vai responder. É? Aqui. Então, até já. Voltamos daqui a 30 minutos. Isso significa este horário de Angola está a atrapalhar. Vamos começar. Obrigado.